Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas already.
He's in Las Vegas. Junior welterweight Javier Molina this Saturday night takes on Jose Pedraza in a big showdown live on ESPN Plus. What's happening, Javier?
Right here, I'm gonna be in the bubble tomorrow. I'm staying at the MGM already, but I don't check into the bubble till tomorrow night. So right now, I mean, just resting, just a few days away from the fight.
So let's talk about this fight. Obviously, you're on a roll. You're taking on the former world champion, two division world champion Jose Pedraza. What are your thoughts a few days out?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've been on a roll. I've had my last couple of fights. I won pretty big. I won by first round knockout against Hiroki Okada, and then I beat Amir Imam unanimous decision. So, I mean, I feel like I'm in a great position right now, and beating Pedraza will just take me to the next level. I feel like I'll be in the mix to fight for those world titles. Say Josh Jett and Ramirez do fight, and the winner goes up. There'll be 4 titles vacant. So I believe with the win over Pedraza, I should be in the mix to fight for one of those titles.
What's been the difference in these last 5 fights, especially the last two? Like you said, the first round knockout, and then the win on the Wilder Fury card against Imam. What's been the difference in the last 5 fights?
I mean, there's been a few changes that I've made with my career. My last fight when I lost to Jamal James, I was fighting 147 pounds. And my last 5 fights I've had at 140 pounds. So I've been feeling a lot better, a lot stronger. This is the way I should have been. I mean, I had some discipline issues back then. I got back with my old coach now. I've had my last three fights with my coach. I feel like everything's going just as we plan, and we will continue on stopping on Saturday.
Let's talk about Jose Pedraza for a minute. Obviously, he's been a world champion, 130, 135. He's now been testing the waters at 140 pounds. What are your thoughts on this Jose Pedraza? Not only the Pedraza moving up in weight, but obviously he's been in some wars, been in some big fights. Do you feel he's got maybe a few too many treads on his tires?
I mean, expecting the Raza, he looked good against Le Pierre, his last fight. I think he's better than what I am. He's more flat foot.
I think you're breaking up a little bit
He
here.
has a lot of experience.
There you are.
Shevchenko, Javante Davis. He came up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's fought. It's like Lomachenko, Tank Davis, but he came up short. I believe that I'm at that level, the top level guy. I feel like I can the type of style. He has a little tricky southpaw, fight orthodox. There's a lot of different things he does that from other fighters, but I believe we're ready for whatever he wants to bring to the table.
You mentioned something before the 140-pound division, and you mentioned obviously you spent some years fighting on some PBC cards. Now you're over at Top Rank, and it seems like the 140-pound division may run through Top Rank. Like you said, there could be a big 4-belt fight coming up in the near future with Ramirez and Josh Taylor. Did you see that when you made the move over to Top Rank? Is that why you did? You saw where the landscape of the belts were going?
Well, for one, I mean, I wanted to rank, but and they're the only ones that had reached me at the time. I had gone like 2.5 years without fighting, and then I had one fight, and then I took like another year without fighting, and then I linked up with Sam, my manager, and he hooked me up with Up Rank, and it made sense. They had they had a lot of 140 pounders, the title there before they said, but Ramirez makes.
I think you're breaking up a little bit. It's probably the MGM Grand.
All I gotta do is just take advantage of.
You're breaking up a little bit. We had you good at the beginning there.
Yeah, you're breaking up also.
I think it's your Wi-Fi because you keep pausing here. Give it a minute to see if we can kind of stabilize this a little bit.
It's freezing more, huh?
Yeah. Maybe if you point your phone in a different direction, I don't know if that's gonna.
Let me see this.
We're good right now. So
Is it a little better now?
yeah, right now it's okay. Maybe that's just what it is.
All right,
So,
maybe
so
this
we're,
will
we're
work.
talking about you moving over to Top Rank, and you mentioned your manager maybe seeing where a lot of the belts were heading.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I had a meeting with my manager. He linked me up with Top Rank. It makes sense. They had a lot of 140 pounders. Like Ramirez had the titles. Josh Hedder wasn't with them at the time, but now that they signed him, I mean, it's even better for me. That's why I was pulling for Ramirez even in his last fight with Costa. It was a close fight, but it's better to keep the belts over here. Top Rank. It's easier to fight for them.
Obviously, you were a 2008 Olympian, and you know sometimes you know when you come out of the Olympics, the expectations and everything. Did you feel that you know maybe at first there may have been too many expectations, and now you're really finally hitting your stride?
I mean, I don't believe it was the expectations that messed me up. I just feel like I just went completely off track, man. I I believe like I could have been like me and Pedraza. I think he made his debut like probably later than I did. I turned pro at well, it was like over 11 years ago, but he was a two-time world champ. Now I could have been in that position, but just the fact that the discipline issues and me fighting at a heavier weight, I should have turned pro at 135 pounds. But because of my discipline issues, I was walking around like 170 something, so I'll go down to 147. But I think it did me good having that little break, the 2.5 year layoff. I focused just on coming down in weight, and then I came down to 140, and it's been going great ever since. Because I do feel like I get overlooked, but for good reason. I see a lot of people they haven't seen my full potential yet. They've seen glimpses here and there, but I mean, if Pedraza thinks that he has me outgunned any type of way, I mean, he's gonna be mistaken on Saturday. I mean, I was a 2008 Olympian. I was the youngest member on the boxing team. Everybody overlooked me when I made the team. They see me as a 17-year-old kid, uh, and I proved everybody wrong back then, and I'll do it now again. I feel like it's the same thing. Every fight I keep going in these fights. I'm the underdog. Imam, I was the underdog. Okada, I was the underdog again. This fight, I'm the underdog. But I mean, it's okay. I've been in this position before, and it's just motivating to me.
My next question was going to be about that Imam fight, being that you said you were the underdog. I thought was maybe if he may have been a slight favorite in my book, but obviously you came through and not only beating him but beating him on that big stage. Obviously you were around fight week. It was a major, the biggest fight of the year so far, and probably will be the biggest fight this year. With a lot of fights being canceled up. How much confidence did that give you, being knowing that you beat him, and number two, it was on such a big stage that you probably gained some fans out of that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was a great fight for me. As far as confidence, I've always been confident in myself. In the past, the losses I took, I knew why I lost. It wasn't because they were better than me. It's just, I mean, first of all, it wasn't in my weight class, and I just wasn't prepared. But I know with my coach now, Robert Luna, which I was with him in the amateurs. He's the one I went to the Olympics with. I mean, I feel like I feel like nobody can beat us when we're 100% prepared, and that's how we've been our last few fights, and that's the reason why I'm in this position now. I mean, it's been a lot of sacrifice, discipline. I went through a lot through my career, and to be in this position now, I'm thankful and grateful, and I'm gonna take advantage of this.
How much is going through adversity in your career? You're just 30 years old. Like you said, you've been around a while. I mean, we've been following you since the Olympics, which was 12 years ago. You're still just 30 years old. I mean, you feel you definitely you're now hitting your prime years.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I've never been in any wars or anything. Even the losses I took, I never took any punishment. But I mean, everything's a learning experience. I went through a lot. There was times in my career that even that layoff, when I was taking care and I couldn't get a fight, there was times I even second guessed if I was going to continue to box because I just couldn't get any fights. But so that's when I started working at a warehouse for a few months, graveyard shift. So I went through a lot during those times. Actually, when I was at the graveyard, when I was working at Smart and Final Warehouse, I would watch the fights at night because I would go in at 7:30 at night and go out like 8 in the morning sometimes. I had seen when Pedraza followed Machenko at the warehouse when I was working. I still remember that day. That's what I meant. 2 years later, I'm over here. I'm gonna be headlining the card in Vegas. So I mean, it took a lot of sacrifice. It was hard for me to just stop going to the gym because that's all I've done my whole life. That was my first job I've ever had when I was working at the warehouse. So it was definitely it was completely different than what I'm used to. But I mean, I have a family, so I had to man up and take care of them. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but it was what I had to do, and it was my own fault. I put myself in that position and I had to man up and do what I had to do.
You think a win on Saturday night leads directly to a world title shot, whether it's against the four-belt champion or if something becomes vacant or all four become, you think a win and an impressive showing Saturday night leads maybe directly to a world title shot?
I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not sure exactly what Bob Aaron's plans are or how they're going to do it, but yeah, it's definitely a possibility. If Taylor and Ramirez fight soon, they vacate the titles, or I might have to fight one more time and then fight for the title. Whatever it is, I mean, I know this is a big win. It's going to open a lot of doors for me, and it's definitely going to get me in the mix and talks to be amongst those fighters that are going to fight for the titles.
In this day and age, we see a lot of guys who are fighting for world titles. Maybe we've never heard of them. They haven't beaten anybody to get their ranking or whatnot. You're gonna, with a win on Saturday, will win against Imam, who fought for a world title and is, definitely top 10 guy, real classy fighter, and again against a two division world champion. So, you feel a win Saturday night, you would have, earned it, as they say, the hard way.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I feel like I definitely win over Pedraza. I definitely deserve a title shot. Because look, I beat Okada. He was once ranked like top 3 or 5 in a couple belts, and then I beat Amir Imam, who fought for the world title against Ramirez and lost, and I'm beating Pedraza. He was a 2-time world champ. So I mean, I definitely feel like I deserve it. There's some people that get just handed belts. So I mean, I definitely feel like I deserve it.
Last couple questions. What do you want to say to the fans out there before we see you this Saturday night live on ESPN Plus, taking on Jose Pedraza?
And I just expect a smart fight by me, all action. And I just want to thank everybody for supporting me. Thank you for having me on your show, and I appreciate it.
And the last question I always ask, where can the fans find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Javier Molina 562.
There you go, Javier. Thank you for a few minutes of your time. I know you just got out of the gym, and we look forward to seeing you, and we'll be talking to you along the way.